say that both of you are dealing, as Aaron has been, with real life people who you know you want to do right by. Talk a little bit about the ways that you have had to jump away from reality to form the narrative and dramas of the King's Speech and the Fighter.
You know, we had to change a lot from Dennis a lot. I think it's a different level with sort of Micky and Dicky.
Do speak into the microphone, yeah.
Like that. I think it's a different level for Micky and Dicky. I think we wanted to stay as close as we could to the truth of who they were as people and try to be authentic as we can to the characters. But we had to change a lot for the time period. You know, in real life, Dicky went to prison for 8 years. Micky had 3 different comebacks, which obviously makes it a far less interesting story. So we changed obviously enough to make it into a movie. It's not a documentary. As far as the reaction, you know, I think it was harder for Dicky. I mean, to see himself up there smoking crack, and Christian is so sort of convincing. I mean, it was really difficult for him to watch the movie. Micky, I mean, I could never imagine someone making, not that anybody would want to, make a movie about my life. I mean, it's such a, I just couldn't imagine someone up there playing me, going through some experience that I had had. And so I think, you know, how someone reacts is obviously personal. The weird thing for Micky is that one part he hated is that in real life he never got knocked down in the fight against Shane Neary. And he hated Shane Neary. Micky's the sweetest, nicest guy, but he hated Shane Neary. He was really rude to him. And so Micky was really upset that it showed him being knocked down. He's like, I never fucking got knocked down. So he was like, it took me time to get over. That was the only thing that bugged him. Crazy. But, you know, we took the movie to Lowell, and I was most concerned with Alice. Because these are real people. I mean, it's easy for us to sort of, especially in our case, they're alive. But, you know...
And they're on your set, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of, yeah, there's a lot of them. And it was shot, and obviously it's shot in Lowell. But these are still real people who have kids and ex-husbands and husbands and boyfriends, and they, you know, and they go to school, and, you know, it's sort of, I don't think anybody sees themselves in the way that sort of the movie portrays them. You know, it's sort of, that's who they are as people, you know? And so I was sort of, especially for Alice, who is really frail. She's 80 now. She's actually in the hospital, but she hadn't been out of her house literally for like months. And she was, when she was younger, she was no joke. I mean, she was tough. But now she's really frail, and I thought the movie would kill it. I mean, it was sort of like, I was terrified, because there's some stuff in there that I knew that was true, but that would embarrass her about the number of the number of different fathers for kids. There was only 2 husbands. So there's some stuff that you go, I don't know. And so she watched the movie, one of the producers, Dorothy Aforio, and I was terrified. And David, to his credit, sort of stood there, because if anybody, we were going to point at him, not at me, for that. So he stood there, and Alice started watching it, and she's like literally like 80. I mean, she's tiny and thin, and she sat there watching it. And the one thing in real life that I also think is in the movie, Alice loved to get dressed up for events. One of the things for her that was great when Dicky started boxing is she'd always go get her hair done, and she'd always get an outfit for it. I mean, that was sort of part of the experience. So of course, Alice had already gone and got a new outfit, and she had her hair teased up, but she was frail, thin. And she started watching the movie, and she had a bag of popcorn, and her hand just froze for the first 10 minutes of the movie, and it didn't move. I really thought it was going to kill her. She just stood there. And the first scenes are the toughest, because Melissa Lee, who did a great job, comes in and shows a scrapbook. Then there's a scene in the bar where you find out that there's a bunch of different fathers. There's 9 kids, and it's like they're giving her a hard time, but it's the truth. And I was just like, and she froze, and then as the movie started off, she started eating the popcorn. Once she started eating the popcorn, I was like, we're going to make it through. She's going to be okay. And I walked with her around afterwards, and she said it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. She was okay. And then during the screening, 2 of the sisters, Red Dog and Beaver, no, it was Red Dog and, I get this wrong. I think it was Beaver. Red Dog and Beaver walked out. They were not happy. They screamed at David. So given how the experience, what the reaction would have been, I think that was an overwhelming success. I literally thought that someone would get killed in this movie. You know, so that was sort of, and they're, you know, it's complicated to do.